Hi, and welcome to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and part 1 of the Bronco StuG 3 buddy build with Peter of Peter's Plastics. This is the kit in question. The Bronco StuG 3, kit number CB35118. I already did my intro video on this. Talked a little bit about the kit, what the plan is, who I'm building with, and contents of the box. So let's take a look at the kit and see what I've completed so far. Alright, so taking a look at the instructions here, the first step, as is usually the case with a kit like this, is the wheels and beginning the suspension. So there are two different wheels that are included in the kit. One that has a smooth, let me find my pointer here, sorry. One that has a smooth hub here, and then one that has a bolted hub. Has bolt and rivet detail available on there. So in looking at photos of a 1942-ish StuG 3, I saw a lot of this smooth, so that's the one I used. And you can see here what I'm talking about. The hub part is smooth as opposed to the one with the bolt detail here. So got some for the spare box. Use these. There was no problem, fit together great. The cutoff points where the sprue gates are like right on the tip of one of the teeth. You know, there's like 4 contact points. Very easy to cut those off flush. No sanding or anything necessary. Fit together just fine. Then there's the idlers, and as you can see, it has two per wheel, 2 photo etch rim parts, and as you can see here, they're really nice. The main thing you'll want to do when putting this together is make sure that you get the seam on this is right in the middle of this cast spoke area here, so you want to make sure you get that lined up really well. And if you are off a little bit, it wouldn't be too hard to scrape or sand it smooth, but they fit together really well. Looks nice. The hub cap here is molded on detail, which is fine. A lot of kits have them as separate. Never really saw a need for that, but you know, this one's molded on, so it looks good. Then we have 8 sets of wheels, road wheels, and here they are. And again, there's no problems with these. They work really nice. Now there is molded on detail here. It says you might be able to see it. It says Continental, CONTINENTAU. Okay, that's to avoid any trademark infringement. So what you're supposed to do is trim off this outer edge of the U to make it into an L, thereby making it Continental. Now at first you can't really see. It left a mark where I cut it off, but it is smooth and the L part is there. I wasn't going to do it at first, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. It took all of 5 minutes with a really nice sharp blade just to trim it off, cut it, swipe it away, you're done. I did have to sand the contact portion of the wheel. The rubber part did have a pretty sharp edge, so I sanded it all the way around using a sanding stick, and then hit the edge just a little bit to get the burr off and get it to where it was kind of more roundish than squared off. Again, no problems there gluing those together. The return rollers, it's the same thing with the Continental on there. I haven't done these yet, but again, it shouldn't take very long. No problems again. So one of the things in the instructions, it calls out to assemble the parts CB9 and 10. CB9's on that side of the hole, CB10's on this side, to to cement this shock absorber, I'm assuming, onto that part with the wheel to create this sub-assembly, 4 sub-assemblies. I opted not to do that, and I will tell you why when I get to that point. So the next part was putting parts on the lower hull. Again, there was no problems. All the parts fit very nicely. All of these, in my preview, my intro video, I talked about these parts right here that are molded on the hull. A few of them were bent over. Now, fortunately, I've heard people say that the plastic on this kit is brittle. I haven't found that really to be the case in comparison to other kits. These parts here, the ones that were bent over, I was able to straighten them up just by pushing with my finger, and it didn't break the parts off. You can see the stress on the plastic here where it's been discolored, you know, a lighter color from pushing it back into place. Yeah, it was no problem. So if yours are bent, just carefully push them back and it should be okay. But all these fit no problems. 2 contact points there, and where the torsion bar goes into the hull. Front final drives, nothing, no problems there. The rear idler adjusters and axles for the idlers, those fit no problem. This one here on this side, and it may have just been on my kit, but I would probably be safe in assuming that it's not just my kit. But the pin on this part here, which is right here, it's kind of tapered, and it seemed like the taper was a little more pronounced on this side than this side. So when I pushed it in, it had a tendency to kind of slide back out. So I just took my knife and say that's that part there. I just kind of scraped it all the way around to reduce that taper bit so it would fit into place snugly, yet without trying to force itself back out. So again, no problem. Mufflers, no problems. These little toe points here, shackles, whatever you want to call them, those fit really well, and no problems. Now here is that sub-assembly I was talking about. So sub-assembly should look like that. Okay. Now as you can see on the instructions here, this is the step where you glue those parts on. Now there's a pin on the hull and a hole in this upper mount for the shock absorber. Then there are 2 holes here that fit on, or 1 hole here that fits on the back of the shock absorber, or the back of the shock absorber. So it would have to be lined up properly in this step here in order for it to fit on here. Now there is no reason whatsoever to make that as a sub-assembly and then install it. Why they tell you to do it that way, I don't know. But all I did was I put this torsion bar, torsion arm in position first, then this part just drops right in place on top, and that's the way it was all the way around, both front and back, both sides. Popped on there, no problems. And it saves you the aggravation of trying to make sure this is lined up on here. Again, it's kind of weird, and worked out fine. These parts here, these bumpers, again, no problems. They fit exactly. So that's pretty much where I've gotten to so far, the steps 1 through 3. Now, as you can see, I have not mounted the wheels on, and I generally don't, because I like to leave the wheels off for painting. It's a little easier, and it makes it easier to paint and then do a little bit of the weathering on the hull. Although it's not as big a deal on this because you can actually get down in there with your stuff. So probably what I'll do is I'll paint it and then put the wheels in place and then do the weathering. but they fit on there really nicely. Really nicely indeed. So all that went together really well. Parts 1, or steps 1 through 3, the lower hull, are complete. So the next part will be starting with step 4, which is the gun breech. So next time when I come back, I will be working on that and talk a little bit about how all that goes together. So the Bronco kit so far, it's really working out well. I got a message from my buddy in this buddy build, Peter, and he has got the first portions done as well, and he has also not had any trouble. He was just pointing out the fact that these parts here do attach here, and to be careful if they're weak from having to bend them back to make sure they don't break off. So that's it. That's the Bronco StuG 3 Part 1 video. Steps 1 through 3 are complete, and everything is going well. So far, I would recommend this kit. The detail is really nice. Everything fits together really well, and it's just an enjoyable kit to build. I really like it. So anyway, that's it for now on Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. And as always, put any questions or comments down below in the box provided. And until next time, I will see you later.